I started selling on Amazon in 2014, and I felt like I'd finally found what I was created for. I love the Amazon sales channel because it's location independent. I can work on my business anywhere in the world as long as I have access to the internet.
Before I started selling on Amazon, I felt like I was stuck in my job and in a career that wasn't going anywhere. And I knew that I wasn't passionate about it like I was building my own business. Now, we sell millions of dollars every year of our own product, something that we're building, something we believe in.
We also own a 12,000 square foot warehouse where we ship out thousands of boxes every single month. However, I don't have to show up at the warehouse. We outsource the fulfillment and the work at our warehouse. Hey everyone, this is Andy Slamans here from Amazing Freedom. Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you're watching the show live or if you're listening to it on the podcast, this is another real seller interview. I believe this is the 9th or the 10th, and I'm going to attempt to do 100 over 2020. EJ and I were just laughing about it. So I have a lot to go. These have been super helpful for me. I hope that you are enjoying watching them or listening to them. Every time I do an interview, I was just sharing with EJ, I learned something that I want to add to my business, and I'm sure this interview will be no different. So this is EJ Kaga. He is a awesome Amazon seller. I've known him for 2 to 3 years now, have spent some time with him traveling, have been to a number of retreats with him. Super excited about what he's been doing in his Amazon business as well as what he's doing in his life. I envy the systems that he set up. He's actually been traveling the world over the last year in Asia, and he'll be traveling a little more in a few weeks. I believe he said he's going to Florida, and then he's going to return to Asia, all while his Amazon business is humming. So EJ, thanks for taking time out of your day-to-day to hang out with us and share your expertise.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Like Andy said, we've known each other for a few years. I guess we've been selling on Amazon since 2016, and things have been going great. Like he said, we are traveling at the moment in New Jersey, just visiting family, but we'll be back in Asia in a few months to get back to the warm weather over there.
Awesome. So EJ, tell us a little bit about your background. I made a post in the Amazing Freedom Facebook group, and I shared how your former life, you were a chef, and then somehow you stumbled onto Amazon. How did that happen?
So, I was a chef before. That was, I guess, my career, first career. I was a chef in New York. I went to culinary school, all that good stuff. And then I kind of fell into Amazon just out of nowhere, kind of. I saw some videos on YouTube, and, like a lot of other people, I wanted to get some extra income or have like a little side hustle. I started seeing about Amazon, and then I started selling books that I had from school, and things just automatically sold. And then, I took some time off work, actually, to, vacation time off work to kind of see if this business made sense. And that's where it kind of fell in. I started just doing RA, OA, and then slowly migrated to private label after that.
Oh, that's awesome. So there's been a number of people that I've interviewed who really started the same way. That's how I started. That's actually the way that for folks that are just starting on Amazon, that's the way that I suggest they start, just to kind of learn the platform and understand, how the marketplace works and understand creation of shipments and everything.
Yeah, I would recommend at least a few. If you have a few things laying around, or just go to a store and do some RA, even if you lose money, just to understand how the whole system works. Because I've tried to talk to a few people that were interested in doing it, and until you do that, you don't realize how much you know and how much really takes to like sell on Amazon. So definitely would recommend that also.
Yeah, that's a great point. One of the things that I guess perturbs me, and one of the things that kind of pushed me to do this interview series is a lot of times people make it sound way too easy, like selling on Amazon is, kind of like baking a cake. And that's absolutely not the truth. And when you do RA, you actually, your back is going to be hurting
from prepping those shipments. And
Yeah.
you really understand like what it means to run a physical product inventory based business.
Yeah.
Like that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. And a lot of people coming into the space, like they want passive income. This is not passive income. You know, it's far from it. When you are operating a physical product inventory based business, it is a whole different animal. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, you know, we're so disconnected sometimes now because we ship most of our stuff from overseas. But you're shipping over containers, and like, you know, if I were to receive a container in my house, it'd be crazy. You know, you don't realize, you know, how much product you're going through, how much, you know, actually back end stuff that Amazon takes care of also. But it's kind of crazy, to be honest, to be doing what we're doing, especially people like myself that we're not even location based. So it's you know, I think it's definitely, there's a lot to learn. I've constantly learned. I think that's the good and bad. So you have to like learning if you want to jump in.
So you're doing RAOA, and then you I imagine maybe wholesale, and then you saw private label. What made you decide like, hey, look, I think this is the sourcing model I want to do?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I guess the RAOA, I think, always had a semi of a cap. And then obviously we needed people, domestic people, and you needed a warehouse. Wholesale, obviously, maybe not so much, but I just saw the best opportunity in private label. I think the learning curve to do private label is probably, there's more moving parts, you know, because I think you have to add in the marketing side of everything also. And it's something that, you know, I think in the long run, it's a better asset that's sellable. You know, you can sell off Amazon and all this other stuff. So I think that's why private label is probably the best choice. And I think it still is, for me at least. You know, I know other people that are doing super well in RA or wholesale. So it just depends what speaks to you, I think.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about what you just mentioned, that right now you're really location independent. So you can run your Amazon business from anywhere in the world. That's where a lot of us would like to be, is to set up those systems, you know, where we can travel. And really that's the beauty of e-commerce and the Amazon sales platform, right? That, you know, they do FBA, so you can ship products in. But what are some things like, what did you have to do? Like when you decided, hey, you know what? I want to set up the systems. Like, what are some of the first things that you started to work on?
I would say number one is understanding the system yourself, and then getting a team secondly, and then making sure that team understands your systems. You know, we have a team about 5 people, everything from like operations, inventory, graphics, customer service. Those are the big ones that we do, or we have, and making sure that they understand the system that you're trying to execute and keeping on that system. So we have, you know, SOPs, we use, you know, things like Loom and video recorders to make sure that they know the process. I think for me, the hardest part is making sure they understand what we're trying to do, because, you know, if your instructions aren't good or your SOP is not that great, well, your results are not going to be that great either. And then, you know, I think that's the biggest thing, is making sure you have good procedures that are easy to understand. And that's, you know, that way you can easily scale. You know, for myself, I still work a good amount, even though I'm traveling. It's not like we travel every week or every, you know, other week. So, you know, making sure that everybody knows what their job is and checking up on them, basically.
So where are you spending the majority of time in your business right now? Is it in sourcing? Is it in logistics? Is it in product development? You know, like where do you see your most important role?
For me, I think product development or new product sourcing is probably the biggest, and then managing my team. The new product, I've tried to unload that a bunch of times, but I think I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just tied down to it. You know, I assume other people can do it. It might just be something I like to do also. But that's where I spend most of the time, and then obviously just, you know, managing the team to make sure we're progressing.
So let's just talk a little bit about product development. I think, again, this is something that doesn't get mentioned enough. in the groups or on YouTube. This, I honestly think, is the biggest portion of the time that Nate and I spend now with the brand that we're developing. Can you just, kind of unpack, for folks that are watching this, they want to get into private label, but they don't understand the timeline, for product development. Just unpack for us all the things that go into the product development process.
Oh, I mean, it's a lot. So for us, we always, because we already have a few brands, we always branch out from our existing brands to look at, things that we can add on to our brand first. If we're looking for new products outside our brand, then, we use different software, looking through Amazon, just to kind of find potential products. And then even from there, it's how do you differentiate your product? How can you actually get this at a cost that's going to be good for Amazon? How can it be differentiated? The competition, it just keeps on increasing on Amazon. But if you're innovative, you can make something different. I think it's, there's potential there. It's just, you have to do your due diligence, and it takes time. For us, some products might take 6 months just to go from like concept to actually start production. So it just takes effort. And I think for most people, you have to just keep to your guidelines. So whatever your guidelines are for your product, just stick to it. Because I think there's so many products out there that we get the shiny object syndrome. You want to jump on everything. So, it's making sure that you do the work that it takes to get the products live, basically.
Yeah, so I just want to reiterate what he just said there. 6 months, I would say that's very accurate, and this is coming from seasoned sellers who have launched multiple products. So think about that for the timeline. If you're a newer seller, and if you're newer, it's really going to be 6 to 7, maybe even 6 to 8 months from the time that you identify that product. And a lot of times, like, working with manufacturers can be a frustrating process, right? So share with us a little bit. I'm sure that you've worked on some products, and then you spend time on them, and then sometimes they never come about.
Oh yeah, depending on the supply, like I think there's so many moving parts. Just from one Amazon marketplace, does it change? Did you when you looked at the product, it looked like a good deal, and then 5 months later, a lot of more competition came in, or the price went down, or just manufacturers. Like sometimes we have manufacturers we've worked with. I don't know, too many now, but luckily we've always had pretty good manufacturers. But there have been times that you just unfortunately have a manufacturer that doesn't pull through, or you just have different expectations and things just don't work out. But it's like anything. I think that's why you need to make sure that you have proper checklists, or you work with somebody that has done this before, to kind of show you what you need to look for. Because in the beginning, sometimes you just don't know, right? And when you don't know, and it's hard to foresee something that might come about and not actually be in your favor.
So how are you managing your supplier communication? Do you do that yourself? Do you have a team member that does that?
I would say a team member is probably my best bet because of just the time zone difference. So most of my team, or one of my 2 team members, probably manages dealing with the suppliers. We do try to meet them over video sometimes, just to build that relationship a bit better, and to kind of just, for us, we haven't been to China, unfortunately, but just to kind of get that face-to-face contact with them and, see what they're working with, because they might be working out of a shack and you don't know it.
So just a nuts and bolts question. When you do like those supplier chats, are you using Skype or any other platform?
WeChat, I would say, is the number one nowadays. For us. We do, I don't know if my employees use anything else, but WeChat is usually the number one contact way.
Awesome. So those of you that are watching, I definitely suggest that if you've not been to China to visit your factory, ask them for a WeChat, a live WeChat call or a Skype. Another thing that I would ask too, and this is kind of video based, when you are getting your production, when you're getting your product produced, I would ask the supplier to send you videos, or even send you videos of their factory. Now you're just kind of fingers crossed that it is their factory. So I'll give a quick story here. We were ordering a product for a year and a half. I actually went to China, visited this factory, thought it was, the company had offices in there, or at least I thought they were their offices. They tour me around the factory. Well, a year and a half later, I found out they're just a trading company that leases out an office, in that factory. And so, which it's not necessarily a bad thing if you're working with a trading company or an actual factory, but I definitely was duped into thinking that it was their factory.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, we haven't had any big issues like that, but definitely we've had a supplier one time that just, it was a trading company and they were saying they were a manufacturer, but it actually worked out. But
what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you prefer one or the other? Do you use both?
So usually when we're sourcing products now, we try to get several different, sources. We obviously reach out to manufacturers that we think are manufacturers. We have a sourcing agent also that kind of goes out and scouts for us. So this way we're able to kind of vet different, see who might be the best. Because at the end of the day, if you're not there, you don't really know. That's why a sourcing agent usually helps out a lot, because, they could go and visit the factory. But I would use a trading agent if the price is right and the quality is good. Why not? That's what it comes down to, I think. Making sure you have good quality, good relationship, and a good product.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that we say too. That if you're working with a trusted agent, I've actually had a relationship with an agent for about 6 years now, and she does a lot of sourcing, a lot of work for me now.
Yeah.
And as long as you're okay with the margins and the quality, like you said, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Share with us, some of the bigger challenges that you faced, just say over the last 12 months. Again, the reason for these interviews is we want to give folks, a reality check that running a physical product business, not all unicorns and rainbows, and you will have losses and you will have losers. So, if you're okay with this, share with us some of the struggles that you've had.
Besides cash, I think cash obviously is a big concern for most people. I think creating the systems and the team was one of my biggest challenges. It's just something that I was not used to, or I don't want to say not comfortable with, but just something I didn't have experience with. And I think that was the biggest turning point in our company is, before I was trying to do everything, and then finding the team really just helps, but it takes time, trying to find the right people, and then training them and then getting them up to speed, and then, letting them do the jobs that you're asking them to do and trust them that they're going to do it. I would say that's my biggest challenge to date, or at least in the past, 16 months or something like that. Besides that, I would say is letting go of losers. So we're always tied down to our products, or we're married to them. And I've been in that case. I probably still have one or two products I probably should let go. So I think that's one of the big things that, reevaluating your product SKUs and then making sure, okay, does this really make sense for me? Is this being useful for my company or pushing my company forward? Because sometimes you don't want to accept the fact that you actually launched a bad product or did something bad.
I love that. And again, those of you that are listening, make sure you take that to heart. Let go of your losers. Otherwise, they will bleed your company. And that often gets said, like, don't get emotionally tied to your products. It's hard, though, when you have products which initially are bringing you in thousands and tens of thousands of profit, and then for whatever reason, it kind of goes sideways. It could be for a number of things. To really objectively sit back, right, and evaluate those.
Yeah, I mean, we had to let go a whole brand almost this Q4, which, the previous Q4 we did great on it. And this Q4 just didn't work out, and it sucks, but you move on and you keep going.
All right. So again, those of you that are listening, just understand that. So he had a brand that was doing phenomenal. But for whatever reasons, like sometimes you got to cut those and then, continue to build another brand or reinvest.
Yeah.
So that's a reality, right? Like every Amazon seller who's been in this game for 3 or more years has faced that, and some of us do better than others and some of us don't.
Yeah.
I actually, since you're mentioning that, like I have some SKUs that I probably need to let go. I've held
I
on.
think everybody that's been doing this for a few years probably has at least the one product that they should let go.
No, but like, I'm thinking of one, and it nets me like $2 a unit now, but yet I'm carrying that inventory for like 8 months.
Yeah.
And so like that's one that I just need to cut the losses and not reorder.
Yeah,
So,
and at the end of the day, it's not a loss because you get the money back. You get your capital back. You can reinvest it, and it could produce more money for you. So it's just about cash allocation and what's going to bring you in the most money.
Yes, no, that's great. And again, that's something that's not often talked about is capital allocation. For building a physical product, an inventory-based business, there are two things: cash flow that you will always struggle and deal with, and then capital allocation, right? Like those are kind of the higher level things. Now, are you making those decisions yourself? Are you, getting counsel from your team?
So we sometimes hire kind of like a on-demand CFO. We kind of do the books maybe on a quarterly basis to kind of reevaluate each SKU and see if it's actually like, does this really make sense to keep? Because like you said, there's products that, over the years, the profits have been dwindling. So you have to decide, is it worth it for you? I mean, if you have enough capital and it makes sense, then yeah, that makes sense. But it's a case-by-case situation. For us, we keep some of them because it makes sense for our brand. We might want to sell that brand one day. So it's just kind of like, okay, that's an extra SKU that's in the brand to make it more full, right? Make it look slightly larger. But yeah, I mean, we've cut products because it's just, like you said, like your product was only bringing in $2. We've had products that were bringing in, $100 a SKU and it went down to $0. So, that's just the name of the game,
Right. Awesome. All right. I have two more questions for you. One, maybe just a statement. I want to hear your response. Did you ever see yourself, when you're younger, obviously you must have really liked culinary arts, you go into a career in it. Did you ever imagine, like, man, I might be selling things online?
I don't know if I ever imagined myself like exactly doing this. But when I was younger, I always kind of had like a side hustle mentality. I always like to like find, okay, how else can I make money? And, we used to sell stuff, or I used to sell stuff on eBay. Back in the day, just random stuff here and there. And I think I used to flip records and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Definitely. I always thought of it, but never thought of it as a business. I wish I caught on to it a bit sooner and rode the wave.
Don't we all?
Yeah, but it's no. I mean, I don't think I would have ever imagined it. I think that's a lot of people that are in certain careers. They think that's their only option. And I think nowadays everything is so accessible as far as information. You can learn pretty much anything, and if you put the time and effort into it, then you can probably do well. I think that's the biggest caveat for everybody. Is like, are you willing to put in the time? Both, I bet you and I have put countless hours, more hours than I've put in college. So into this, so it's at least we're studying, right? So
for sure. All right. So, hey, my last question I ask everyone that's in the interview, for folks that are maybe just getting started out, or maybe folks that are, at that medium level, maybe selling $250,000 to $500,000 a year, what's some advice that you would share with them, on just the ability to scale up, to grow, to not quit?
I mean, I guess the biggest thing, and that was the biggest thing for me, is your product selection has to be on point. In regards to, also just the financial side of the business, is this going to actually help me grow? Because, we picked some products that in the beginning were just not, they weren't bad products, but they would have been super challenging to grow because of just like the ROI or the profit margin. And then I guess the other one is learning from others. So, networking with other sellers and connecting with other people to see what's working, what's not working is probably the two biggest things that have helped me push my business forward. I've learned from countless people and, smaller sellers, larger sellers, conferences, meeting people anywhere. That's probably helped my business tenfold. I wouldn't know the things I know if I didn't, reach out to people or connect with people.
Yeah, so I follow you on social and I see you attending like different events. I think there was one in Canada that you attended.
Yeah.
And again, it just looked like higher level Amazon sellers.
Yeah.
So that's, you're still actively engaging, other folks that are kind of at your level.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think, especially meeting people in person, you're able to connect and not most people, but sometimes people don't have the time to share what they know or do things online. But when you meet people face to face, it's a different story. You build a relationship and it's easier to connect to other people like that.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you again so much, EJ, for hanging out with us. Those of you that are watching this live, those of you that listen, I hope you're enjoying these interviews. I only have about 90 more to go. I'm really excited about it, though. Every time I leave, I get more energized just hearing other people, hearing them talk positive about their business as well as share the struggles that we all go through. So, EJ, thank you so much. I'm gonna let you get on with your day. Appreciate you, and continued success in 2020.
Yeah, same to you. Thanks.
All right, take care, everyone.
Bye.
On this channel, we're going to show you how you can sell millions of dollars on Amazon too, whether that be from your home, whether it be from the basement of your house, or whether it be from a beach in Tahiti. As long as you have internet access, we have this amazing opportunity to build million-dollar brands, launching them on the Amazon.com marketplace.